Hi, everyone. It's Kelly from Tutoring Tips for Teachers, and welcome to our cozy Zoom chat today. Today, we are talking about online tutoring. And there's been a lot of talk I noticed lately in our Facebook group and other tutor Facebook groups about people who want to transition into online tutoring and they're very intimidated by it. They don't know how to do it or where to start. So I thought let's do a chat about it today. Let's do a cozy Zoom chat about it. I want to mention that there are some myths about online tutoring. So before we even get started, I'm going to do a quick little myth busting, but super quick because I have a whole video on this and I'm going to link it in the description box below. But people tend to shy away from online tutoring or get really intimidated by it because they think first of all that the students have to live far away from them. And they don't. I have a student that lives on my street and I tutor him online. So the students do not have to live far away from you. They can live next door to you. I used to tutor my daughter online from a different room just because she liked going on her iPad. So I thought, why not make it more fun? So the students can live anywhere. They don't have to live far away from you. Online tutoring is has a lot of benefits, and distance is just one of them. So don't be put off by that. The students can live in your neighborhood. They can live close to you. They can live far. They can live anywhere. That's myth number one. And myth number two is that you're going to need a lot of expensive and fancy different kinds of platforms and bells and whistles to do online tutoring. And you can definitely have that, but you don't need it. I just use Google Slides. Do my lesson in a Google Slide presentation, and that's all I need. So you don't need a lot of fancy schmancy stuff. So these are two myths about online tutoring that people have, and I just want to bust them really quick. And there's more, but check it out in the video on online tutoring myths, which will be in the description box below. Now let's get to the chat today. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, and thank you to Michelle for giving us this idea, is how do you convince parents that online tutoring is a good thing? Because a lot of parents are still kind of stuck in this mode of they have to have an in-person tutor, and they have to like come to the house, or they have to like the old ways. So how do you convince parents that that's not necessarily the best way? And personally, I don't know a lot of people tutor in person at the house and it works for you, and that's great. For me and what I tutor, I would not do that. That is absolutely not effective at all. For me and what I tutor, actually tutoring online, I find to be the most effective for my program. I also tutor in person, and that is effective too, but when it comes to one-to-one tutoring, I only do it online because in person for me, it is just not effective. So there's so much online that you can do. There are so many games that are right at your fingertips. There's so many websites right at your fingertips. There's so many, it's such a visual, beautiful presentation that you can put together. And it's so much more engaging, I find. I've tutored one-to-one in person and it's really boring. So I don't do it anymore because the child and I are just sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna give you this worksheet, and then we're gonna do this little game, but with moving the dice around. And it's like, oh, it's way more fun online. There's just so much more pizzazz to it. And this is with just using Google Slides, not using any fancy stuff. So how do you convince that to parents? Okay, I sometimes get parents who will say, no, we want in person. We want an in-person tutor. Well, they they first of all, if they want to work with me, I tell them, the first thing you have to do is you have to do an assessment, and the assessment is free. They have to do the assessment because if I don't assess the child, I don't know what I'm working with. I don't know what skills they have. I don't know where they're starting from. So I need to have that assessment information to plan a program for that child that is unique to that child, that is going to build on the specific strengths and skills that that child needs to work on. My program is individualized. Okay, so I'm not just teaching some random thing out of a box. This is an individualized program, and if you want an individualized program, you have to start with the assessment. And I only do the assessment online because that's how I do it. I'm not going to come to your house and administer it. So if you want to work with me, you have to have the assessment done online. That's the first thing. So I give them the free assessment. It takes me about 15 minutes. And in that process, they see that actually this actually works. Wow, Kelly is really connecting with my child. My child is having fun, and I'm telling you, I use the QRI 7. If you're familiar with that for reading assessment, it's really dull and boring. So if that if that engages a child online, then it's all about your energy and your personality, right? So that's what you're showing them when you do that first original assessment. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, it doesn't have to take long. You just want to show them that, yes, I can connect with your child online. The parents are freaked out still from COVID, okay? And if you can remember back to that time, oh my gosh, teaching online was a nightmare, okay? It was awful. And they can't separate online school from online tutoring. And to be honest with you, and I've spoken to a lot of parents who have unfortunately had bad experiences with online tutors as well. I'm sorry to say that, but they have. So people have kind of paved a very rocky path for you that you have to break through to convince the parents to tutor online. But if you have that energy, if you have that, like drive, that personality that really comes through online, then all you have to do is meet with them for a very short time, and they're going to see that. And then they're going to say, okay, I feel okay about this. I know it's going to work. Because you know what? Not everybody has that. Okay. And if you don't have it, it's okay. It's something that you can learn and practice. To be honest, I didn't have it when I first started out. I was very dull and boring online. And it was only through like trial by fire of having to teach school online. And at that time I was teaching school to a special needs kindergarten class where almost every single one of my student had severe autism. They were nonverbal, and like that's a tough crowd to teach online. So that was my initiation, and I taught myself how to bring out that personality and how to engage the kids online. And anyone can do that. Okay, so all you have to do is demonstrate that you can do that to the parents in one quick, and I'm going to say free assessment. I'm going to say free because you know what? Show the parents that you're so confident that this is going to work that you're not even asking them to invest any money. You know it's going to work. You're just going to show them this is how it works, and then they're going to sign up. So that's why I like to offer it for free. I don't want them to have to commit to anything they're not sure about. And they like that. And then after the free assessment, they are sure, and then they're ready to commit. So I highly suggest offering a free assessment. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be all animated and, all these fancy whiteboards, all this. You don't have to have that. You just have to have one quick, short little assessment. You can find free math assessments online. You can find free reading assessments online. So just use one quick, short little assessment, 15 minutes max, and gather your information that you need to plan your lesson, make that connection with the child and with the family. And I find that's usually enough to convince them. So hopefully that helps. So definitely don't skip that step. Don't skip that assessment, introduction, free assessment type of step. Okay. Now, that's convincing the parents. That's my advice to convince the parents. Okay, now how do you make the lesson more engaging? So I've just talked about how you have to really bring your energy. And honestly, you can be using the most like I know there's all these things like Koala Go um and Nearpod and all these like really amazing programs. You can be using the most amazing program. It can be doing like a light show and fireworks out of the screen. It doesn't matter if you don't have it from you. They're hiring you because they want a live teacher. Okay, they can sign up for an app, they can sign up for a website. Their kids can be taught in a self-paced environment where they're going to get all these cartoons and cool stuff and games and this and that. But they chose you because they want a live teacher. So it's you. You are the one that has to bring the energy. And it doesn't matter what platform you're using, doesn't matter what games you're using, it doesn't matter if you're using Google Slides or if you're using worksheets or whatever you do. It's all about you bringing the energy and connecting with that student. So I'm going to say the engagement really comes from you. Now, Now, having said that, listen to your students. What do they like to do? If they like a particular game, then make sure you always include that game. You can try out different types of games, different types of websites. Like I use, okay, I'll tell you, and I'll connect this in the description box. I use education.com and I use Phonics Bloom because and education.com is not just reading, it's everything. So I use the games from those two websites. My kids like them, so I always incorporate them into the lesson. But I also use like super simple things like roll and read. If you're a reading teacher, you know what that is. That's just literally a worksheet with dice on it, and you roll the dice, and then you have to read the word under that number. And it's literally just a worksheet that I put up on the screen, and we play it, and some kids love that. They love that more than the animation they get in education.com or Phonics Bloom. So if I know they love roll and read, then I'm going to make sure we always have a roll and read game included in every lesson. So think about what your kids like. Now, alternatively, I had a student who was told me she got nightmares about one of the characters on education.com. So listen to that. No more education.com for her. So you have to listen to your students. What do they like? What is resonating with them? And honestly, that's how you're going to make it the most engaging. There are, and I'm going to have Cheryl mention in a moment a few different platforms that are available. There are so many. There are so many cool whiteboards. Pencil Spaces has like a revolutionary whiteboard. There's education.com, like I just said. There's Phonics Bloom. There for reading games. There is Koala Go. A lot of people really love Koala Go. I haven't used it myself, but it's like a video game from what I understand, and it's very interactive and engaging. There's a Nearpod. So there's like so many, and I'll try to put all of these in the description box below. There's so many different games and platforms and things you can use to engage the students. Um, and and I'm gonna recommend that you talk to Cheryl about that, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But honestly, the bottom line is that it has to come from you as a live teacher. You got to bring your energy. You've got to listen to that student. You have got to plan the lesson for what you know that student really likes and really resonates with that student. So that's my advice for how to engage students. Now, I am going to turn it over to Cheryl here in a minute because Cheryl has a program called the Tech Hub for Tutors, where she will teach you about all this cool stuff. Okay, all of these really cool platforms. She's taught me so much about how to use Google Classroom, and that's kind of things that you learn in the Tech Hub for Tutors. And if you're interested in different platforms that you can use, then she's the one that you want to see. So, Cheryl, can you tell us a little bit about what people can learn in the Tech Hub for Tutors program?
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me, Kelly. It's always great to connect and to get to collaborate with you. But at the Tech Hub for Tutors, basically what I've done is I have built in a library for people to go through if you are unfamiliar with Google Classroom, because, okay, so here's the thing. We're all busy. We're teaching, we're planning, we're doing all kinds of things. You can go out there and you can, go onto YouTube and try to figure this out on your own, or you can join the Tech Hub for Tutors, where I take you through what is Google Classroom, how do you set it up, how do you add all the links, how do you personalize it for your students. I've got right now in the Tech Hub for Tutors, I've got teachers and tutors that are building one-to-one courses or one-to-one, I call them ed hubs for learning for single students. They're building out small groups. And then I even have a calculus tutor who's building out a full course for students. Now, Michelle Tobe had come to visit us. I don't know if she's still in here. Yeah, Michelle's here. She'd come in to visit a few times. And her idea, and I don't know if this is Michelle still thinking this idea, but to put together a classroom just for a unit for, like, let's say addition of fractions. So you're putting all of your links, all of your videos, all of your PDFs, and you're kind of getting all those things lined up. Michelle, is that what you were kind of still thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking about my summer program, and I'd like to do groups based on a particular content. Yeah.
Right. And so the interactivity comes with how you're going to line that all up. Okay. But the other thing that I teach my group is that you want to tailor this for your students, for your crowd. Okay. So I think it was Melissa. Was it Melissa that was asking, how do we make things interactive? Okay, so I do not use Google Classroom just as a one-stop shop. It's a place where students meet me. My Meet link is in there. They have a dedicated Meet link. I can teach on the go. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be teaching from my car on Friday. I'm going to be using my phone to do the lesson and my husband's noise canceling headphones that will Bluetooth directly to my phone. I'm going to log in, meet my student right there in the Google Classroom on our Meet link, and everything that student needs is right in there. I'm going to open up the slide deck right there. I'm going to run it on my machine. Then I'm going to say, so-and-so, because I don't want to use the student's name, would you please click into your Brainsy account? Let's do a little bit on whatever it happens to be in his reading. He'll click in there. He's in charge. He has voice. He has choice. Then I'll say, okay, when you're done, would you go back into your Google Classroom and click on one of your word wall activities? Share your screen with me so I can see what you're doing, and I can see it right there. Now, my lessons are only 30 minutes long, but I teach my teachers, how do you set that up, and tutors, how do you set that up and how do you make it work for you? Kelly, you had also asked a few other questions. Can I talk to you and address those about teaching platforms?
Yes, yes, please do.
Okay. So inside of the Tech Hub for Tutors, I'm always giving little tidbits of information and posting things in our Tech Hub. And then my teachers also meet with me in live workshops twice a month, and it's usually the first part of the month, and then I have a free question and answer at the end of the month. So we're always connecting. People are putting posts in the Google Classroom. We're responding. They ask me questions. I do a little video thing, upload it, boom, it's there. But I want to transition to your question about teaching platforms. And here's the thing. You could work for a company. I worked for a company here in the United States for 2 years before I launched my own teaching platform. But I had to come up with my own platform. Okay. Kelly, you use Zoom. Yolanda might use Zoom. I use Google Meet because I'm already paying for this service. I pay for extra storage. So I thought I'm going to get the most bang for my buck here. So I use Google Meet. Then I know some people use Teams. Anything works. You can even use Skype, whatever works. Some people actually, I think, even use Messenger. As long as you can share your screen and you have a video conferencing, you can totally use whatever works best for you. But then you have to have something to teach from, okay? So you're going to share your screen. And I know, Kelly, you use Google Slides a lot. But for me, sometimes I need something more than that. So I will use a shared Google document that we can write on. I can even have one document with multiple students at the same time, and everybody can be typing on that document. You can do the same thing with Google Slides. I have a slide deck where I'm meeting with students independently. I'm teaching about poetry, but each one of my students has their own slide in there. And then as we keep meeting, they get to see the progress of their classmates, their virtual classmates. And I work with, most of my students are 2nd through 5th or 6th grade, but I will work with kindergartners. That wouldn't be appropriate for a kindergartner. But what I'm saying is they can see the work and they see what their peers are doing, and it inspires them to kind of level up their work. And I like that. Whiteboards are a real issue. Zoom is a great whiteboard, but there are some things that it can't do that other boards can do. Jamboard is going out. I love Jamboard, but as of October, it will no longer be a service. So check into Figma.com's education whiteboard. It's called FigJam, and you can get a educator account by supplying them with some of your background. But inside of Google Meet, you can use Lucid Spark or Miro or Miro. I think it's Miro. And those are fine for whiteboards. But some other things, one that I really rely heavily on is the Kami app. And you can use Kami app for free. And basically what you do is you just bring in either your slide, your document, your PDF or whatever, and it becomes a virtual whiteboard for you. And so that works very well for my students because they can highlight, write, and type on it. Now, I don't see it in real time when I'm looking at the open tab. I see it in real time when they're sharing their screen with me. So that's kind of my work around there. A few other places that you can go for interactivity that I'd really like to encourage the listeners to check out. Math people, check out Math Playground and Braining Camp. Braining Camp. Math Playground's free. Lots of fun interactive games. You can even get spelling, grammar, and typing on that. But also check out the Braining Camp. I used that for free when I was concentrating on math, and it's just really robust for like different shapes and things that math teachers specifically need. For reading, writing, spelling, those types of things, and also math, go check out roomrecess.com. Lots of interactive games that you can use. I don't just use the games, people. I'm just telling you for interactivity, okay? So if you're thinking she only plays games with her students, that's not the case. Check out wordwall.net. You can get some things for free, but many people pay for the subscription so that you can you kind of have a bank of things that your students can use. And Koala Go is not something that I use. You mentioned that in your discussion earlier, but on Koala Go, the playground, you as the teacher, you have to go and you have to customize that for your students. And that takes a little extra time. But I know a lot of teachers like that. And the last one I'm going to mention is Pear Deck. You mentioned a different one. And now it doesn't come to mind, but Pear Deck is basically you set your lesson up and then you present it, and it's a slide deck that becomes like a virtual slide deck. That's all I got for you.
Thanks. Thank you, Cheryl. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot, a lot, a lot. I'm gonna try to put as many of those as I can in the description box below.
I'll send you a
that's a lot.
message.
And then,
Okay, I'll send. And then you can just copy, cut, and paste
oh,
it.
thank you. And Beth has just posted Learn Cube in the chat. So check out Learn Cube as well. And so you see there's like so many, like, I mean, literally, I don't even know, so many is not even the right word. There are a ton of different activities you can do, different websites you can use, different apps you can use, different platforms you can use. And I should mention Google Meet is also free, as I know that's a big question too. People always ask, oh my gosh, Zoom costs so much money. Do you have a discount code? No, I don't, because Zoom, yeah, it does cost money. It does. For me, it's a very valuable investment in my business. But if you don't want to pay for Zoom, you don't have to. Just use Google Meet because it is free. If you have a free Gmail account, and then you can actually get a free Google Classroom that you can share with your students, and you can use Google Meet for free as well. So if you're looking for a free alternative to Zoom, definitely use Google Meet. And yes, I would like to sum this up by just saying that honestly, if you're thinking about starting online tutoring, but you're scared, just go for it. Really and truly, just go for it, because the sky is the limit. There's just so much you can do with online tutoring, and there's no one way of doing it. So, I mean, I've told you a bit about how I do it. Cheryl told you about how she tutors online, which is very different from how I do it. And you know what? Someone else is going to do it totally different again. So you're going to put your own stamp on it, and you're going to do it your own way, because there's so many different ways to approach online tutoring. And that is a good thing, because you're going to do what's right for you and for your students. And that's what's going to make you stand out as a tutor, because nobody's like you. You're unique, and you can deliver your own unique program online, especially online, because you have so many tools and it's just so efficient and everything is at your fingertips. So if you're thinking about online tutoring, but you're a little bit nervous to start, I hope this has inspired you to get started with it, because you're going to love it. And one of the major perks, of course, that you don't have to leave your house, but that's just one of them, because there's so many other perks to online tutoring, and you're going to be able to connect with your students at a whole different level and engage them at a whole different level and really create an amazing program. So go for it. Go for online tutoring, check it out, test it out, and just start building your skills. And you know what, before you know it, you're going to have an amazing online tutoring program. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments on YouTube. I'd be happy to answer them. And I will see you next week for our next Cozy Zoom chat. Bye, everybody.